Margaret Kuhlman of Soul Astrology. If I were looking at a person with this particular chart, I would say that there is an immense depth of character, history of experience, tremendous sense of commitment and integrity. With all that Capricorn, even Mercury having stepped into Capricorn as well, like arriving on Earth to do something, and the sextile to Neptune, which brings a sensitivity and consequently even a spiritual overseeing of action. It's come from the past, being around the South Node sign at the moment, and the Sun and Moon are standing between Saturn and Pluto, as though these were the two wings or two tools that were going to be used, and they're to be used to nurture the human family. The sign to me that this would be a character of service is the quincunx between Venus and Uranus. But of course I'm not looking at a character, I'm looking at the energy of this month, and potentially the energy for the year, because this new moon is happening on the 12th day of Christmas. That is to say, it's a point where we might well be casting off the fun of the past or the party that represented the end of last year, and actually settling down to getting on with what's going on now. So looking at it as a quality of the time, what I notice about that Venus and Uranus is absolutely about to go direct, having retrograded back away from Taurus back into Aries. It's now turning to go forwards and own up to this next 7 years of its time in Taurus. And within a couple of days of this new moon, Venus will have moved into Sagittarius. So the whole picture is about a turning point. In the process, Venus is trining Chiron, and in the next few days will trine the Mars, who has moved into Aries since the very first of this year. So from Scorpio, it's as though in our relationships, we are examining, picking up whatever has been left behind, the stuff that was under the stones, the bottom of the lake. We're bringing it all up to the surface so that it can be properly thought about, considered. It feels as though this year could be about an appreciable proportion of humanity actually changing the way we go about things. It can't just be about individuals doing little things to make the world a better place, but as though decisions can be made that affect all of us moving in that direction to support our relationship with the earth as well as with each other. And of course Capricorn is very concerned with the practicalities of things. So the foundations, which is of course on a physical level the earth herself. It's not that the earth needs our support, it just needs us to stop damaging it. It's our behaviour, the behaviour of humanity that needs to shift. So that movement of Venus into Sagittarius looks exciting, and powered up by the Mars, who's ready for action. The thing we have to watch out for is that the action is actually considered. Sudden, impulsive action can be very disturbing, shocking to the system. And here's Mercury about to square Mars exactly in the next couple of days. The virtue that the Mercury has is its lovely connection to Uranus, meaning that there is the ability to stand back. Having been shocked, there is the standing back, reconsidering, recognizing the practical ramifications of maybe what just happened, and turning it all to serve the cleaning up our act. But the shock is there as part of the flavour of the month, a shock to the mind, a shock to the assumptions. And assumptions, of course, are what we don't know, we think. so we didn't know we needed to change it. Could be a wake-up call. And with the North Node trining Chiron and trining the Venus, it looks as though this wake-up call will be received and the best of it able to roll through and have a beneficial effect. Which is why I keep finding the word flexibility rising to the top whenever I think, well, what do we need? What would be the best thing? Flexibility. So if you find yourself annoyed, angry, upset at anything in the world, that's in inverted commas, in the world, just consider how much your upset might be because you've got a fixed position which you've found to be comfortable and you don't particularly want to change it. And introduce the word flexibility. Change is happening all the time, everywhere. It's life moving through now. It never repeats itself. The life force, the creative force. It's about newness all the time. Flexibility is definitely in accordance with that. The full moon moves the whole thing to another level as Venus reaches Jupiter, still trining Mars, and in the middle of Sagittarius. Extremely flexible. All through this month, and on and off this year, Jupiter will be squaring the Neptune. And Jupiter has a tendency to exaggerate or emphasize whatever it touches. It exaggerates when it's square. So we tend to get too much of things and then have to balance by going too far the other way. If we can recognize what has just been exaggerated as something that we can use, maybe necessary, maybe we had to wait too long for it to happen, all that sort of thing, then we can make our personal adjustments without having to go too far the other way. So the direction is very high ideals. Ideals that are too high to be manifested is the Jupiter end of that. Lots of fun, life should be wonderful, we should all be totally happy. The ideals that are kind of beyond what practical life really contains. And the other end, also incredibly idealistic, but in a way it can be blaming God for the things that aren't right. If this was a spiritual world, it should all look fine and things should be done for us. There's a kind of a letting go of responsibility there. So blame could come into it. Blaming at one end, saying how things ought to be at the other end, both have nothing to do with the actual moment we're in and what's actually happening. Being present and being flexible and being awake and alert to the realities of the moment will actually hold us on course. It's a beautiful thing that here we have the sun just having gone into Aquarius, opposing the moon who's just gone into Leo, and it is a total eclipse. It's about 5:15 in the morning, universal time, so definitely visible to many. And I was thinking that the Earth coming between the sun and moon, it's almost like being on the operating table for a change to be made. As the moon on the North Node is trining Chiron, and the sun sextiling Chiron, it's as though it's time for some deep emotional human disturbance to be solved, to be reconciled. And as the Venus was trining Chiron in the first place at the new moon, perhaps the full moon is bringing about not the completion of that, but bringing it to the next level of solution. Uranus is doubly squared in that chart and stands square to the nodes of the moon in any case. All planets have to be activated in the astrological system, so that particular position of Uranus might be suggesting shock, a desire to put one's head in the sand, not to know, and it's there. The squares are suggesting that we vacillate into it and then back. So we take our time and then come back. We state our opinion and then get more information. And it's a vacillation. So once again, the flexibility to allow oneself to incorporate more than one knew before is an extremely useful quality. At the new moon, once Uranus is direct and it's stationary at this time, there will be no retrograde planets for the whole month. In fact, not until March. The rest of January and February have no retrograde planets. I regard retrograde as being a sort of back-of-the-mind feeling of something from the past, like holding us up a bit. Sometimes it can be a bit of a hindrance. Oh gosh, the way things have been before. Sometimes it brings fear of the past. But it also can bring guidance. And it's as though we haven't got those. Nothing holding us back from the past or guiding us. I don't mean that statement to be taken absolutely literally. But it is interesting to have a period of time with no retrograde planets. Possibly a real free flow of energy, and all that energy implies, the work that can be done, finances, shifts of all kinds. Bearing shock in mind, let's endeavour to be intelligent, and when shock happens, or when we feel the urge to act too fast, or faster than a situation would seem to allow, we need to think, take stock, consider the best way forwards, ask for guidance, and this could be an amazing month of achievement. All the best to you and your projects, and be prepared to be surprised by what is in your life and what you can do with it. Thank you. There are more comments in the recent post on my website, soulastrology.com. You will step more steadily if you relax. The situations of life are always beyond your control. Just now you can feel the truth of that. Now is the time to reach for what you can rely on, your source, your life's beginning and end, spirit itself, no matter what that is. In your heart you know this. Rest assured. Whatever happens, you are safe in the arms of love and the company of all. Do not block your awareness of the truth, nor veil your eyes from the light. Nothing truly real can ever change. Let go your desire to be right and your fear of loss. Joy and love and peace are behind what you see, resting in the silent stillness within. Within.